What's up, folks? Happy New Year. Hey, I'm still partying. Well, hey, folks, going to do a quick update here, with the turmoil or turbulence we've seen here first couple of days. So, welcome to the primary woods. Hey, let me jump into this. Please do review our disclosures at the end of our presentation. So let me start off with the SPY. Okay, so, we've got a little bit more of a sell. I've broadened my box a little bit. Minor wave 2 may be down to 463 now, but we're still, holding the base of this whole edge. I was hoping it'd stay up here, but comes down here. But realize we got nothing here and here, so 453.13 is very viable here. Now, this is a primary wave 3, and our wave 2 was fairly broad. And look at the extent of our wave 5 here. So I'm going to snatch this a second, or wave 1, excuse me. I'm just going to snatch this and stick it here. And where are we? So, relatively to the first leg, equality is up around 488. I don't think that's going to break. However, we really didn't have a back test here. So I'm just going to get rid of that look for a second and delete it. So let's just assume we get one. And, I often do this. I look at the leg and I'm saying, okay, where should we have gone? So on our intermediate wave 1, I always look for 50% back on the leg. If I'm not getting 50% back, so we should have come back to roughly 434 on our back test of that leg for it to really be a solid 5-way, the upside. So I'm going to assume that is my trend support, and I'm just going to turn that into a support line and say, hey, this is where we should be, just for shoots and giggles, and throw an alert here on this. So that puts us down to maybe 455.28 as far as the S&P is concerned, to the downside here. That breaks, then it's going to open up to 61.8, which is the base of our next support level, which goes back to July of 2021. If that breaks down, this could have been an entire false breakout. Now, realize we do have a confirmed high, a divergent high, and another one. So, in a tight box, that is a 3 drive. So 100% of the leg is right back to that 455 where the target is. So I sort of like that look. So let's look at the NASDAQ. Now, the NASDAQ, I had it pegged going into this week where I was saying 394. Well, we're heading there. So we're going there. All right. The Dow really has done nothing wrong. It's really holding its own. It's relative strength here. Really seems weird saying that's what it is. All right. Now, the Russells, in my last update, I had this pegged to the downside too. However, it's not been as aggressive as the S&P or as aggressive as the NASDAQ. So collectively, the weakness lies really in the NASDAQ, which is where our fangs are oversold. So that really is where I think this is. I don't think we're that in that much trouble yet, per se. But clearly, some of the now this has just become a leading diagonal. Some of the semis, whenever we're just going back to trend support at 533, then we should continue. So it's become that leading diagonal. And when we look at XLK, I had this pegged at 177 coming into the week. Generally when I come out and say mixed bag, I'm usually pretty close. I'm not really that far off base. Right now we're doing, so our next target's going to be come down here. So our target 1 is going to come down on about 160 on XLY. Now, right now we have a little flight to quality and utilities, nothing out of the ordinary. So, I had my target 1 on this a ways back when I'd looked at it before the holidays, around 52. Counts just restructured a little bit. So, we break out above, you can watch utilities sort of as your tell. If we're going to broaden here, get more aggressive, I'm going to come in and just say, hey, this is our internal trend line. Put an alert there myself. Above 68, then, we're probably going to get a little more aggressive to the drawdown. I don't see, anything more than funds taking some profits and reorganizing here. That's what I see. Look at the breadth of this move between $52 and $83 on utilities. When we get down here towards this low, that coincides with what I'm seeing in the Russells to the downside. The Dow doesn't show that, but it's broad. This 4 here, there's nothing that says it doesn't come back down here and retest support, because it's totally viable there. Now, the NASDAQ, this is our 3, so we're in the midst of this. Our 4 could broaden, up here? I mean, it could. I'm not going to say it's not, because it could. But the most likely place is going to be the 50-day there. And really, we sort of, I don't have a trend line down there, but we really could come in and say, hey, it's done nothing wrong if we go back and test the 200-day. Let me look at the SPY and just say, hey, could this broaden? Yeah. It could. Right here, it could, because I don't like this. I don't like anything that isn't consistent, organized, repetitive, and the patterns aren't consistent based on the history of the way wave patterns work, how they manifest, how they change or how they don't change, etc. Are all major points to me. So equality, I would have much rather had this 2 here, right? And then we back test this, or we get a shallow back test, because then the euphoria is gone to the downside. With the current count that we have, nothing's win. This is the first spot where we've really come off it all. So it could come all the way down to the 50% back based on that leg, down to that 443. And it still has done nothing wrong as far as manifesting the upside. All you'll see is a count that's lower. This 3 will probably raise a little bit off of that, and the 4 will probably raise a little bit, and even the 5 will probably raise a little bit off of that as well. It's, one crazy thing about Elliott Wave is extremes to one direction or another always are added to the other direction. So if you have this immediate flush, that just extended our top. If we have this euphoric push to the upside, that immediately extends our bottom equally. So if we go 20 points to the upside, realize we just added 20 points to the downside as more of extreme. It always is like a pendulum swinging back and forth. So, well, hopefully that, guys, brought you a little comfort today. I don't think we're in trouble yet. I'll keep you up to speed if I see it. Other than that, great trading. Until next time.